Hello.
Heidi-ho! How's everybody doing out there in video land,
The
I guess
world.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are here. This is Chef Chris and this is Sam Ed. We're here at Old North State Winery doing a virtual tasting. For those of you that can't be with us here on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. where we do taste every Thursday. Of course, Chef Chris and Becca will be doing it solo, or not solo, a duet. We're doing it sans Ed for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So you may not see me, but you can't see me on this video, while I'm touring Italy and looking for more wine ideas. So we're doing virtual every week regardless. So that's the great thing about virtual.
Now you can just,
it just
stack
never
them up.
stops.
It
You
never
stack 'em up.
stops.
And so we're gonna have lots of delicious wines over the next, well, forever.
And never.
Let's never stop. So
We are not incentivized
Mount
to
Airy,
stop.
Mount Airy, North Carolina is where we are. If you ever want to drink with us in person, we're here for you. Thursday night, 6 p.m. Make your RSVP and come see us.
You won't regret it.
We enjoy drinking and talking
And visiting.
and visiting. You know I said this in our last video, but the chef's tables have been just phenomenal.
Yeah, they've been great. They've been really great. It's such a wonderful experience. Never gets old. I don't know how many years we've been doing it.
Me
No,
either.
but-
When people ask, I don't know what to tell them.
I mean, it's been a lot of years.
How long have you been doing this? I don't know.
I think it's 4.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 years.
Well, we're
But
doing
but
it
it
before.
feels fresh every day.
If we found out when that bar was built, then we could go backtrack because we know we were doing it for at least a year or a year and a half before that.
Well,
Oh,
Good
that was
morning.
That was the walk downstairs. Got a little rattle.
Yeah, I got a little.
We're down in the dungeon, and yeah, that was fun. At least I didn't put anybody's eye out.
Yet.
Yeah. All right. So Grand Robert. This is a Cremant de Bordeaux. So Bordeaux. What do we know about Bordeaux? We know that they have a couple reds and a couple whites that they're famous for. And this happens to be a blend of a red and a white.
Thank you.
We are going
Look
with
at that.
Semillon here. So
Shoot.
when we think about white Bordeaux, we think about Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon blended together. And here we have 80% Semillon. This is a white bubble, as you can see. But there's also 17% Merlot here. Of course, Merlot gets its color from skin contact. So if you just squeeze the juice out of Merlot without skin contact, you can remain a nice white color. So there is a small amount of Muscadel in here too, which is not that absurd. I mean, you'll see a little bit in white Bordeaux blends, usually tiny percentages, just like in here. It adds that kind of aromaticness that you're really looking for, which is, it's a fantastic grape. I've always liked Muscadel, but it can be quite overpowering. So small segments of it, small portions rather, in your blends. This is a brut, which tells us that it's pretty dry, right? Nose, beautiful, chalky, delicious. It does not disappoint, does it?
No, it does not. I'm getting a great little volcano action there.
Yeah.
That one little spot. It's
Yeah.
It's just pouring bubbles there
Yeah.
to the top from that one little spot. What if there's a little chunk?
This is a very lively wine, is I think what Chef's trying to tell us. I mean, yeah, there was probably some shaking, definitely some shaking when I was hustling down here during lunch to get the wines, get the video going. But also, this bottle is pretty lively. It probably has a little extra yeast, a little extra sugar in it, and that's great. We like an active beverage like this. You know, that's what makes these bubbles so much fun. You know, I actually enjoy popping a bottle when people want it to. You know,
Yeah.
going through SOM training, you're taught, you know, you never let it pop unless someone asks to. You know, make a bang or something, or show out, or whatever it is that they want you to do. And that's always fun. When we were celebrating the election results for our local politicians over at the house party, when I opened it, I hit the bottom, and just to make it really extreme, and it shot over the roof of the house. It
A
was
lot of atmospheres there.
Yeah, so they can be dangerous. So when you're opening these at home, please, 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 whenever you take the cage off, make sure your thumb is on the cork from that moment on. Never leave it untended to, because that will knock your eyeball out if it hits it just so. And we actually heard a story of a groomsman, or actually I think it was the groom. They were opening a bottle of champagne at their wedding, and the cork got him in the eye, and he spent the rest of the day in the hospital on his wedding day. So, I mean, I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just saying be cautious of the amount of pressure that is in these bottles.
Be respectful.
Be respectful,
Yeah.
that's right.
I like to pop though. I have to tell you. I mean, like I'll do the quiet just to keep in practice, because practice. But I like to pop.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're celebrating. Yeah, I like the theater. I like to pop.
Sure. Well, this is a beautiful wine, Chef. I'm getting kind of like tons of, apple, pear, citrus.
Tons of citrus.
And I'm getting a beautiful
Green apple.
Yeah, a little chalkiness, almost like maybe not chalk, but maybe like apple skin.
Yeah,
Like,
you get it.
like that kind of.
Yeah, for sure. Green apple, the Anjou pear.
Yeah.
Love the lemon lime in this. Really terrific. Good bitterness in a good way.
Of course, Grand Robert is a negociant. He's got us several different wines over the years.
Great rosés.
The Cab Franc, the rosés, the Claret rosé is wonderful as well.
Dark. It's a
Yeah,
darker
that's a
rosé.
Merlot rosé that is real extracted for a rosé. And we've had the Cremant de Loire. There's just so many offerings that he provides, and we're very fortunate to have their delicious bubbles. Always a great value, always delicious. Yeah, I actually had someone asking about their Pinot just yesterday.
Nice,
So it's
nice.
they have a following. You never know year to year what he's going to acquire, but I can assure you it's always delicious. So just something to keep, nice packaging too. I mean,
It's a beautiful presentation.
for a value wine, you really get a lot of value
It's a
there.
beautiful presentation, and I love the simplicity of the front. I mean, like these old school, like here's the wine, here's where it's from, here's the name, blah blah. I mean, like forget about it. Beautiful old school
There's no
red
kittens,
and gold. Are you kidding me?
no kittens or whoop-de-doos or whatnot. So
Couple
anyway,
of certifications there too. Always good to see.
yeah. So Chef, what are you thinking about in terms of food pairing?
Well, since it is a Grand Robert, actually it's not. That's just the name. But I'm trying to be theatrical.
You're a Grand Robert.
I am a Grand. You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
We're gonna do
Can I
a.
just start calling you Grand
Please.
Robert?
Actually, I'm gonna demand people do it. You call me Grand Robert, you're fired.
Right. Yeah.
Get
So you're out of here.
Get
yeah.
out.
You're walking papers.
You have no time to adjust to the
Pink
change.
slips. Yeah.
Or else.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a cold crab salad with caviar. This is totally fancy. This is a really fancy bubbles. It needs a fancy pairing.
Agreed. This is gonna end up at the chef's table.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It's elegant.
It's totally worth it. The presentation, the backstory, the fabled negociant.
We typically don't get this kind of elegance out of a wine under $25, so we're
It's
really happy.
very hard. I know it's hard for you to find bubbles of this quality at a price point that you can do it on a video. I mean,
Champagne is through the roof.
God, through the roof.
Yeah, and there's only so many low-end Prosecco's you can do.
Right, and like Cava
Because
too.
when you get into the higher end stuff, it's expensive, and so we try to.
And it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
You've talked.
Well deserved.
You've talked a great deal about you're adding everybody else gets to release their wines when they're ready. You got another year at least, and not to mention the cost, different thicker glass, different corks.
Yeah.
An extra
cages.
cage. I mean,
Yeah.
like everywhere you look, there's more cost. There's more time. There's more money everywhere you go. So I mean, the fact that we can still get something like that to me speaks volumes, because this is a very, very high end wine.
And also, I want to note that they do have a 12-month age in bottle before release. So that's another
Super
added-
impressive.
Yeah.
Really impressive. I mean, a full year, a full harvest.
Delicious. This is a
Oh,
non-vintage,
that's good.
but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, it's very rare to see a vintage champagne
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
traditional method.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're trying to make year to year. But boy, if they made it like this every year, I'd be pretty happy.
Well, I think that's kind of why they do non-vintage, so they can get it pretty close every year. They can kind of engineer it a little bit with
Sure.
different. They can add and subtract to where you're not.
Yeah, and those percentages will change every year on the great breakdown. So that's the current release. So not that it matters. It doesn't. I mean, like people like me want to know the percentages and what varietals in, but at the end of the day, is what's in your glass delicious? You know. Yes. So
Yes.
pour me another glass.
This
you know
is and what too often. Here's what I love about this. It's because Mrs. Wishart likes the bubbles.
She does like the bubbles.
She likes the bubbles. Well, here's the problem. When you're trapped at the store, your options are $70+ or $9.
Yeah,
There aren't elegant in betweens at most stores.
I agree.
And so to be able to have this beautiful bottle with this flavor profile, I mean, I'd open that Sunday morning. It's like, that way you're having an elevated, like you said earlier, I get sick of Prosecco. I don't want to have a cheap Prosecco every Sunday.
Right.
This is great. And this is elegant enough for a birthday, graduation, holiday celebration, but it's also, treat yourself on Sunday and you don't feel like you've ruined a bottle just treating yourself on a Sunday.
Right.
That's what's great about the middle of the road ones. Not that it tastes middle of the road, you know what I meant about the budget.
Yes, absolutely. You're talking simply on budgeting middle of the road. Absolutely. All right. So I get a lot of requests for Malbec, and so I hear you out there. So we're going to do La Posta. Now we've done some La Posta several years ago. They have several different offerings. This is the Fazzio, Domingo Fazzio. They got this kind of retro artsy.
Love it. I've not seen that label from them. It's really cool.
Really cool. I forget what era that comes from. Probably like the 40s, probably, I guess, that kind of style.
30s, 40s, for sure.
Yeah. So really cool looking labels. And, Chef Chris and I.
Thank you.
We like clean labels. We like fancy labels. We like to see them all. But at the end of the day, what is in the glass? And so that's what really matters, and that's what we're going to get into here in just a second. So this is from Mendoza, not surprisingly. That's seemingly where 99.9%
It's got to be a massive area. It's got to be a massive AVA.
So this is going to check all the boxes that you Malbec people have out there, I believe.
God, it smells so
Yeah,
good.
definitely.
It already smells like butter.
It has a lot of this got a lot of oak, a lot of malolactic fermentation notes on it on the nose for sure.
That smells creamy.
Yeah.
That mallow is gonna set this off.
Yeah. I tasted this a couple weeks ago. Really was pleased with it. I feel like it's even better than I originally tasted the portfolio years ago. Not surprisingly, I mean, we're talking about a fourth generation here. They're just getting better and better and better at what they do. And Mendoza is not the oldest region in the world. They're still going to have so much room for improvement over time. And I would suspect their wines are only going to get better, as delicious as they are.
I would say of all the New World areas, Mendoza has covered the most ground from a dead start to where they are in quality. And then that amount of time, I think they've done it faster than anybody in the New World.
Yeah. So this one, to me, that kind of differs from some of their other Malbecs is it has a leaner, tighter finish, which to me is very attractive for food. This is the kind of Malbec that I would want to have alongside of a fine meal because of that finish. Now on the nose in the front, it's still coming up as fruity, vanilla, typical, but it doesn't stay there. It kind of goes into a leaner, I don't know, almost steely. I don't know how to explain it. It almost tickles your bitter sensors without being bitter. I just think it's so much more interesting than typical Malbecs.
It's a very, very good wine. The first sip's a little deceptive. That the oak hits hard on the first sip, and I also think there's some residual from the bubbles too. The palate's not quite cleared out, but the second sip, wow. The oak has calmed down on the second sip, and still that creaminess remains. I'm just fascinated by that creaminess, even though it is lean.
At the finish,
it has a great creamy mouthfeel. It's a delicious wine. What fun!
Dark fruits all over this thing: blueberries, blackberries, plums, dark cherries, and like I said, vanilla. There's a toastiness on the nose from the barrel, which I really dig that. I think that's always a great enhancement to Malbec. I feel like toast, that toasted barrel always shows well with Malbec. And I will say this, I'm also getting some of that almost like raw wood on the back side.
Almost like leather.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go with leather.
I like the toast on the barrel because again, if you could imagine what caramel tastes like without the sugar. That mouthfeel of caramel. So just imagine it without the sugar. I mean, it's just a beautiful wine. I love the cleanness of it on the palate. It's really nice.
This would be just so versatile in the food world, but I would also, it's not, I think we think of Malbecs, we think of burgers and steaks and quite possibly like ribs, anything barbecue-ish, outdoors on the grill. And yes, this would go with all that, but I think this also has some elegance to it that it could go up against some of your fancier dishes that you have at the chef's table as well.
Oh, easily. It would easily. This is not going to run over a dish. I think of fatty salmon, it being a good combination with that. We don't really associate Malbecs with fish very often, but I think I think this is light enough to where it wouldn't run over, or a scallop, but really the fat from the salmon, it seems like would handle that pretty well.
And it's for an Argentinian Malbec, it's not high in ABV. I think it's probably 13 and a half, but it doesn't show its alcohol at all.
Not at all. I mean, it's almost
the tears are
benign. I mean, the tears are significant. I was actually looking at that while you were talking.
But they're running pretty fast, so I think this is not super alcoholic.
I don't taste any alcohol in it. I mean, it is so, a lot of wines, even great wines, you can really, even they're not high, but the alcohol is really, I mean, I haven't even thought about the alcohol. It's so non-prevalent.
Right, yeah.
Which really helps with going up against food as well.
Sure, yeah. There's just a sophistication to this wine that you just don't expect at a wine, again, under $25.
We need custard with that. I feel like it would like eggs.
Yeah, I dig that.
I don't know if it's the creaminess of the wine,
like a mushroom custard,
or a pork belly.
Pork belly.
Mushroom and pork belly.
And you're talking about in the custard?
In the custard.
Oh wow, that'd be really outside the box.
You get really rendered, get your pork belly super rendered.
Right.
And then cook the mushrooms in the rendered pork belly.
Yeah.
And they'll absorb that fat. That way it wouldn't separate the custard.
That would be crazy. Are you gonna do that?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Or I could do, we could be safe. We could do briskets. Yeah, because brisket would be delicious.
We could do both.
Brisket, pork custard, crab, and caviar.
That's crazy.
You're turning into me. Let's give it all to them.
Right? Yeah. You're rubbing off on me. Now we got no checks and balances.
It's on now. I agree. Let's do both. We'll do a little sliver of brisket, and then we're gonna do a little pork, and I've got some of those maitakes.
Yes.
and we'll cook the
there's
we'll cook the maitakes and the render.
Taki has some similar elements.
Yes, very much so. Yes,
to
very
this
much
wine.
so. Very
really
much
does.
so. It's rooty but silky. Yeah, I think that.
And there's like that. It's like almost a mineral finish to it that.
Completely agree.
I mean, again, and I'm not saying bitter, but it's approaching bitter. It's not bitter. It's like a.
Well, and maitakes smell very hoppy.
Yeah.
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 They have a deep wooded.
Right.
Where you're talking about the taste of wood and leather.
Yeah.
That forest floor
Mhm.
really plays off of that
Yeah.
the mushrooms bring to the table.
Yeah. I think of so when I was a kid, I would have a popsicle. You eat all the popsicle, you get down to the stick
To the
part.
wood, yeah, but it still has the flavor's gone into
But
it, but you still
there's-
taste the. That's
That's
a deep
that's what
deep call.
That's where I mean, and doesn't wine remind you of so many things?
Oh, it's nostalgia,
Places,
nostalgia
people.
in a glass. It's a
Yeah.
moment in time. Absolutely. I mean,
My favorite, one of my favorite flashback moments was I was having a Sauvignon Blanc with someone, and I was transported to when I was 9 years old, up at my great grandmother's lake cottage on Lake Ontario, and we had one of those real. Reel mowers. You just push.
yeah, we're talking about that.
And
the
the grass. I mean, I
the
was
smell,
the
the
grass of that Sauvignon Blanc took me right there. I was 9 years old,
Incredible.
pushing a mower, and this just reminded me of having a popsicle stick.
On a hot summer day.
Yeah. So you gotta.
I love it.
It's surprising what's buried in there. Because when do you think the last time I had a popsicle was?
Well, I just love I love hearing the whimsical side of you and not the technical. I'm glad you're
Hidden
you're
down
giving us some of that
It's
instead
hidden.
of just like the spreadsheet.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I try to appease all of the sides of it. I guess just.
That's fantastic.
And Chef, I've really caught the travel bug since we went to Portugal.
I hope we don't lose you. You're gonna become a travel writer or something.
I
Now you're speaking in terms. You're gonna start writing these stories now and traveling the world.
I can talk about my popsicle and my mowing the yard.
I love it.
But hopefully that you and I will be doing some traveling together in the very near future, because
We will.
it was nice to have taken our show on the road, not our show, but
us.
our friendship
You and I,
on the
right.
road.
We'll be doing a lot more.
Yeah, that was great.
I think we need to do some more mini trips too. I'd love to hop out to New Mexico and then see the sparkling vineyards
in
there.
Arizona.
Arizona, New Mexico, they Texas now too.
Texas,
I mean
fifth
they're
largest,
really blowing up. I really want to redo the trip my wife and her friends are doing up in Seneca. I would love for us to go do that, separately. Because obviously a very renowned and for our country old heritage of winemaking there. So there's all these little smaller trips we can do too. Virginia always great to revisit.
Yeah.
RDV and Vinitas and that area too.
Yeah.
We just need to get out of town more.
Yeah, there's a lot to see and do, and we're trying to bring all those to you. We're trying to use the tools that we have as professional restaurant people to share kind of what we get to experience. Now, we're tasting God knows how many wines that we don't show you, and that's a fact. And I'm always excited when I have access to new portfolios, which we've had access to, as you saw probably in our last video or the next coming video. They get all jumbled up, and I can't remember what.
Yeah, you'll be watching it next week.
Okay.
But yes, but we're kind of front loading this week.
Yeah, we've got a lot. We've took on 2 new producers, new books rather. And also, our good buddy Andy, his South African wines are set to hit 2 big containers of new wines. We're excited about that.
This is the best time to be alive.
Absolutely.
And it's a golden age of wine, and there's more every day and new and even the old is new, where we have young winemakers taking new approaches to old vines, and it's just an exciting time to drink wine and be alive.
It sure is, and
I want to stay healthy just so I can drink.
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep drinking, keep hanging on. Y'all have a great day out there. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Thanks again.